Welcome back to Latin. Here we go with Wheelock chapter 26. It's on page 210. A relatively short and easy chapter. We're just learning how to use comparative and superlative adjectives. So we have adjectives. Some adjectives have three endings. One for the masculine, so caris means dear, D-E-A-R, and cara for the feminine, and carum for the neuter. And in the comparative, it only has two endings, carior and carius. Carior is for masculine and feminine nouns. Carius is for neuter nouns. So that's a third declension set of endings, which we'll look at in a moment. And so here's the ending, either ior or ius. And the stem comes from the genitive. As you can see in this third declension noun, Felix means happy. But to get the stem, so what's the stem on which I put this ending, eor? The stem is the genitive singular minus the genitive singular ending. So the stem for Felix is Felic. So Felicior is the masculine, meaning more happy, or feminine, meaning more happy, and Felicius is the neuter. The superlative, carissimus, in the masculine, carissima, in the feminine, carissimum, in the neuter, meaning dearest. So this is dear, more dear, and carissimus is dearest. So if you're writing a letter to your mom, you'd write mater carissima, dearest mother, and so forth. Nice normal set of three termination endings, us, on, for masculine, feminine, and neuter. The declension for those comparatives is a third declension set of endings. So in the masculine and feminine, fortior, and then the endings is, e, a, ace, ibis, ace, ibis. So we know those endings very well. The neuter is all the same except for the nominative and accusative. Nominative and fortius, and so of course then the accusative and fortius, because for neuters, nominative and accusative are always the same. For the plural, fortiora, and for the accusative plural, therefore the same, fortiora. The usage is straightforward, just like English, comparative and superlative adjectives. Caris means dear, carior means more dear or dearer, carissimus means most dear or dearest. There are a couple special usages. The comparative can also mean to. So here we have vita eius est brevior. His life is briefer. Just by itself, that means his life is too brief. His life is too short. Superlative can mean very. So vita eius erat brevissima. If you're going to translate that very woodenly, that would be his life was briefest. His life was the briefest. They mean his life was very short. His life was very short indeed. To use comparatives, in English we use the word than. He is smarter than the other guy. Here, for that in Latin, you use quam after the comparative, and then you follow it with a noun of the same case as the comparative adjective. So, he libri sunt clariores quam illi. These books are clariores, more clear than those. Illi is nominative because clariores is nominative. So after the quam goes a noun in the same case as the comparative adjective. When you put quam before a superlative, it means as much as possible. So quam after a comparative means than. Quam before a superlative means as much as possible. So we have amicus meus erat vir quam jucundissimus. My friend was a man quam jucundissimus, as pleasant as possible, as pleasant as could be. Instead of a comparative plus quam and a noun in the same case as the comparative, the other way to say than in Latin is to just use a comparative plus the noun and the ablative. So these two sentences mean the same thing. Consilia tua sunt clariora quam lux. Consilia tua sunt clariora. Your plans are more clear, quam lux, than light. Quam plus a noun in the same case as the adjective. This is nominative, so lux has to be nominative. Or, consilia tua sunt clariora, your plans are clearer, luce, than light. Just put it in the ablative. It's called the ablative of comparison. So two ways to say than. Either quam plus a noun in the same case as the comparative adjective, or simply an ablative noun following the comparative adjective. Okay. There's our translation. Do number 8. It's on page 214. You obviously need to make your vocabulary flashcards and also this set of endings for the comparatives. But this is a pretty short lesson, so I encourage you to get on that. If you're watching this video for our normal 16-week course, you're going to have a double lesson this week, so you'll want to move through lesson 26 very quickly. Obviously, if you're doing this for one of our 8-week courses, you always have to move through a lesson quickly because you're working double time.